G'day, battlers, and today we have a very special one because today we have the chance to watch some of the Asia Pacific region official tournaments that go towards the World Championships in Honolulu this August. Now, the Asia Pacific region runs a little bit differently to the rest of the world. If you aren't aware, there's no championship point system. It's actually really, really tough to qualify for Worlds. So first you go through, in Taiwan, they had an 8-round Swiss tournament, which is the sort of the qualifiers. There's 148 people in this Swiss tournament, and the top 16 from that 148 qualify for the playoffs, and then from the playoffs, only 2 actually qualify for the World Championships, with the playoffs being a double elimination tournament. So it's a really tough grind, and this is their one shot to play. Now, today we aren't going to be following along from the winner, because today we're instead going to be following along Willie333b's run using Attack Deoxys. Now, I have a very soft spot in my heart for people that sort of succeed with spice. And, you know, when I saw someone else ran top 6 with a Pokemon very widely considered to be bad, like some people did at Sydney Regional Championship with this guy, very, very special part in my heart. So had to sort of see if we could take a look at these battles. And Willie does, in fact, use the Attack Deoxys quite a bit through these battles. I mean, I've just clicked through, but I saw it multiple times. So definitely keen to take a look, but also like he's done incredibly well with Attack Deoxys, and so we'll be taking a look at those battles. You know, we have a lot of battles to get through today, so if you do want to skip straight to it, there's going to be a timestamp in the progress bar down below. Like there's 8 rounds of Swiss, and then the double elimination playoffs tournament. Playoffs tournament. So there's a lot going on. You can see here. By the way, massive shout out to DoGeDuGeDaShen for putting together all of these graphics, and also just providing a lot of coverage, especially for the Asia Pacific region, because it is sort of so like they're in their own little ballpark. Like the official Play Pokemon accounts, they're run by TPCI, right? So they don't actually really promote any of these events and such. And so it's really nice to sort of have DracoViz here to provide that coverage, to keep us informed, to keep us updated, to let us know who is actually qualifying from these regions. What's the meta looking like? Like you can see that Lantern usage rate is insanely high in this top 16. So like they deserve so much credit. And that's on top of like covering all of the other regions as well, the North American, the European, the Oceanic. Like I am probably on DracoViz every single day to, you know, pull stats and stuff. Like I've been tweeting out some statistic graphy sort of stuff, taking data from the Play Pokemon circuit, and that wouldn't be possible without DracoViz. So they are the number one resource, I think, for Play Pokemon if you are interested in the Pokemon Go competitive scene. So dracoviz.com, you can see it all there, but you can also, they post a lot on Twitter, well, I guess x.com/DracoViz as well, because they are incredible. But also, you know, they've provided us with the overlays that we're using today. So they're kind of incredible in many, many ways, and we owe them quite a bit. We can't knock PV Poke as sort of number one, but I think DracoViz is sort of the second, like of all time, the second greatest resource for Pokemon Go PvP there has ever been. So massive shout out to DracoViz. But with that said, today we are going to be following Willie's run. So let's take a look at the teams. This is round 1. So again, as Swiss sort of goes, as you get more wins, your opponents sort of like have similar win rates to you. So the opponents will get harder and harder and harder as we go. But let's take a look at Willie's team first. So Willie is running that Attack Deoxys, and I'll talk about that in a second. It's also running the Mantine with, I do have the movesets written down, with Wing Attack, Aerial Ace, and Ice Beam. We've got Annihilate running the Night Slash and Shadow Ball moveset. Shadow Alolan Sand Slash is running Powder Snow. Spark Lantern, and then Shadow Gligar running Standard moveset as well. Now, his first... actually, let's talk about Defense Deoxys. Defense Deoxys. I'm so used to saying that because no other Deoxys ever comes out. Attack Deoxys is running Poison Jab, Psycho Boost, and Dark Pulse. Now, if you run a simulation on PV Poke in the one shield scenario against the entire sort of core meta, Attack Deoxys has a grand total of 0 wins in that scenario. Now, if you instead simulate it in the 0 shield scenario, Defense Deoxys has an over 50% win rate. Like it beats over half of the core meta with shields down. So it's a very, very like insanely good Pokemon if there's no shield. So like I was sort of simming it a little bit earlier, and like against Cresselia, like a Dark Pulse does like 86% of a Cresselia's health, for example, which is sort of insane. Like Cresselia is one of the bulkiest Pokemon of all time. And, Dark Pulse just comes through and absolutely nukes it down to like deep in the red, right? So it's sort of wacky good if you can land a move. So that's really what you're looking to do. You're looking to try and just close out battles, or you're looking to just force shields very early on, take a bit of a disadvantage, and then come in and try and clean up with a shield advantage with your other Pokemon. But it's a very wacky Pokemon. There's a reason you haven't seen it in any battles up till now. But Willie, he's absolutely gone and succeeded with it. But round one opponent is, look, it's sort of evident that, their team is the Gligar, Dragonite, Vikavolt, Clodsire, Jellicent, and Lantern. Moveset-wise, though, they're running Water Gun Lantern with Thunder instead of Thunderbolt. The Jellicent's got Bubble, Surf, and Shadow Ball. Clodsire is running the Community Day Megahorn alongside Acid Spray, which is kind of wild. They've got the Community Day Vikavolt as well with Volt Switch, Crunch, and X-Scissor. And then Dragonite is also running the Community Day Outrage with Dragon Breath as well. So, it's an 148-person tournament, and I think Willie has definitely sort of is probably happy to have this as a round one opponent. So welcome in everyone who has jumped to the timestamp. Let's jump into some Deoxys action. So first up, we have the Lantern into the Clodsire. Not a bad matchup because it doesn't have Earthquake, but Willie decides to swap out anyway. Not really necessary, but in comes the Water Gun Lantern. So Willie's going to be able to throw the digs here, do some really nice damage against this Lantern. Goes through, happy days. And because it is the Shadow Lantern and you are putting so much pressure on with the Aerial Ace, you do actually get a shield out of that Lantern. Willie's sort of happy to shield up here. And at this point, even though the water guns are really adding up, you could almost farm all the way down, maybe. Yeah, I think because it's got water gun, you would be able to farm all the way down, although your health would get taken down quite a bit. But anyway, looks like I actually had it. It was actually Gliscor, not Gligar. Whoops, my bad. I'm assuming that's the only oopsie because the rest of the teams through this tournament look pretty regular. But Powder Snow Sandslash comes in. No threat from these charge moves because, again, there's no Earthquake here. It's Acid Spray Megahorn, so we're pretty well fine. You can throw whatever moves you want. And also, obviously, these battles have been sped up a little bit because we do have quite a bit to go through, with 8 rounds of Swiss plus the double elimination playoffs. But mad shout out to Willie for sending all of these battles through. Now, we do get the Surf. I think this is pretty much a pretty easy GG's because this this Clodsire really doesn't have much that it can do. What are you going to accomplish with Acid Spray Megahorn? To be fair, that actually did quite a bit of damage to the Lantern, but Lantern is just a little bit too quick. That Surf goes through, takes out the Clodsire. In comes the Gliscor now, and actually throws the move. Probably wasn't necessary, but now, Powder Snow along Sandslash also in a pretty decent spot. Shield up the Night Slash that's going to come through from the Gliscor, and then shield, and then throw your Ice Punch. Happy days, game 1 in the bag. And again, I think it's best of 3 all the way through, even through to the grand finals of the playoffs tournament. So it's just best of 3 all the way through. So there's a 1-0, and let's jump into game number 2 with the Lantern into the Jellicent. Brilliant lead for Willie. But, actually going to stay in with the Jellicent, farm some energy. He can go for a Shadow Ball, I suppose. Try to catch a move into Vikavolt, which is, interesting, but Vikavolt, there's a reason that you don't see Vikavolt in PvP either. So this is, I don't have a lot of confidence in Sam, in his ability to get through Willie's team through this, because Willie is also a very accomplished battler. I didn't really say this earlier, but, Willie, I'm pretty sure he's been in the playoffs both of the last 2 seasons. So we sort of fought through that massive Swiss tournament. This year it's 148 players, 8 rounds of Swiss. I think last year he was playing in Taiwan, and the year before that he was actually playing in the APAC region. I don't think Taiwan got their own tournament circuit, but regardless, coming in here, we've got the Gligar into Gliscor action, and at this point Willie they can shoot if they want, but you don't really have to. There's not much health. I can't read that message, but hopefully it's fine. Willie didn't flag it or something, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, Jellicent comes in, tries to go for the bait with the Surf, but this is GG's. Lantern's going to come in, throw the Thunderbolt. This is going to get to another one. Can take a Shadow Ball as well, but is actually going to win that charge attack priority. Thunderbolt goes through, takes out the Jellicent, and then it is just going to be that Gliscor in the back. And again, we have that Shadow A// with Powder Snow in the back. So this one's pretty much a wrap. Eat an Earthquake, but that's not going to save him because that is GG's, and that is a quick 2-0 in round 1. So putting Willie off to a nice start, and now going into round number 2. I forgot that the entire background I attached to everything. But anyway, we've got round 2 here up against TMDBTMDB. Not sure what that means. Maybe someone can let me know. But we have a team with Gligar, Lickitung, Altaria, Skarmory, Annihilape, and Lantern. So we are getting a little bit more meta here. And that is actually a Dragon Pulse Altaria. And Annihilape is running Ice Punch Shadow Ball. So no Night Slash, which sort of keeps Deoxys. Maybe we finally see Deoxys come out. Although, Lickitung would still be a little bit scary. But everything is scary into Attack Deoxys. Now, I think I'll keep my sort of a team analysis a little bit brief, especially as we go through these early rounds. But we have Lantern into Lickitung, so, not the greatest lead of all time, but not too bad in the grand scheme of things. And unfortunately, no Deoxys in game number 1. But just going to go straight for the Thunderbolt. That Lickitung presumably just going to go up straight for that straight for the Power Whip. We actually see a swap out into the Shadow Gligar, and Lickitung happy to throw some energy here, because if you weaken Gligar down a little bit, you do have a little bit of a better time with the Altaria matchup, so that definitely checks out, because now these Aerial Aces do still add up, right? Because it is the Shadow Gligar, you get that 20% bonus, but you can just see that with that Body Slam thrown through, the Dragon Breath damage is so oppressive. Now, they didn't have to throw a Sky Attack there. I think they could have kept Dragon Breathing away. But I think they just wanted to keep enough health that they could take a Surf or something from the Lantern. But unfortunately for the opponent, it was an atrocious play because the Shadow Alolan Sandslash was there to farm all the way down, which is pretty devastating. But is what it is. And now, Willie is just able to throw this Drill Run straight into the Lantern in the back. Has a lot of energy from that Altaria farm down, so it can keep on throwing. Has to be a little bit cautious of the Lickitung in the back. But, there's sort of so much health left on Willie's side that he's not in too bad of a spot. Shield up that Surf. And then at this point, okay, there's the there's the swap into Lickitung, throwing the charge move here. Now, Body Slam doesn't quite KO because it is resisted by the Steel typing, and Willie is going to bank the Drill Run on the Alolan Sandslash for the Lantern on the other side. And now, we're pretty comfortably able to just, you could double Surf this Lickitung. And then even in a world where TMDB squared is able to get a full farm down of the Lickitung, Alolan Sandslash is going to be able to win at charge attack priority. So you can pretty comfortably know that you're going to get that. You're going to get the Drill Run off in the back, but not necessary because at this point, you're going to be able to tank. Oh, she just throws a Surf. But yeah, going to be able to eat this Surf. I'm not sure if that was charge attack priority, but either way, takes game number 1 pretty handily, and now goes into game number 2. We have the Lantern into the Altaria, so, not too bad of a lead. Well, not a great lead, I guess, because Altaria resists all of your moves, but the opponent actually swaps out into the Gligar. Maybe they were trying to catch a Thunderbolt, but yeah, somewhat unnecessary, and Willie comfortably able to swap into A-Slash here. Will be able to, it was a little bit quick, so it actually was just an Aerial Ace. Nice call there, but yeah, full farm down on the Gligar. Here comes Annihilape though, so Annihilape definitely going to be able to get quite a bit of energy from this A-Slash. Will actually get a shield from that Ice Punch, gets another Ice Punch just on the brink as well. Definitely nice there. Down to half health. And at this point, you've got that Altaria in the back. Your Lantern isn't the greatest counter of all time, but Willie decides to bring in the Gligar, and the opponent actually swaps into their Altaria, so Willie's going to take this, right? Throw the Aerial Ace here. In comes the Lantern. Just soak up the Sky Attacks. All the potential Dragon Pulses, I suppose. There's actually the Dragon Pulse. But yeah, it's not going to save them at this point. Willie charges up a lot of energy, throws the Surf here. Can essentially just go back to back because 1 isn't going to be enough. Well, yeah, I'm assuming 1 isn't going to be enough because it is resisted by that Altaria. But, we'll see here. Yeah, not quite enough. So 1 more Sky Attack for the road, but then Willie is just going to be able to farm down, and then we'll be able to throw a move in the back as well. Here's the Annihilape, so actually forcing Annihilape to throw them energy. Willie just goes, nah, I'll finish off. I'll finish off with my Gligar. That's fine. Lantern actually survives, but yeah, comfortably able to shield up here. And again, because it is Ice Punch Annihilape, it is that little bit scarier into Willie's team, actually, just because that Gligar is actually... I got confused because I saw a T name with letters, and I was like, hang on, there's not a game 3 here. That was a 2-0, right? But yeah, whoops. So So TWWBS here. So these guys are presumably both 2-0 in this tournament so far. And TWWBS is running another pretty wacky team with the Gligar, the Talonflame, the Azumarill, Nidoqueen, Blossom, and the Lantern. So kind of awesome. That Talonflame is running Flame Charge and Fly. Blossom is running Bullet Seed, Leaf Blade, and Dazzling Gleam. Azumarill has got Ice Beam, Play Rough, and then the Nidoqueen is running Poison Fang, Stone Edge. So a really wacky team. And when you face these teams, like, you have to think, like, okay, this person is 2-0. Have they just like sort of had an easy run into round number 3, or are they like, do they have some secret tech that they're running? You know, I mean, Willie's here with the Attack Deoxys. He hasn't run it yet. He is running a pretty meta team otherwise, but like, you have to think, what am I going to do here? Because like, you know, Blossom can actually do damage to pretty much Willie's entire team for the most part, as long as it doesn't see that Alolan Sandslash. Like, even into Mantine, you actually get a fair bit of damage off with the Bullet Seed farming up quite quickly. But then like, Azumarill is also actually a bit of a scary Pokemon for Willie's team. Like, you've got good matchup into Annihilate, you know, you've got good matchup into Gligar, you've got good matchup into Defense Deoxys, because who doesn't? And then Mantine, you're in a pretty good spot as well. And then you're really just scared of that Lantern as kind of the only major threat. So there's potential to be a little bit RPS here if Willie sort of goes, hey, I need to bring Lantern, and then just lands it into Blossom. At the same time, could land it into a Talonflame. So I feel like this could be a little bit RPS, but let's jump into Qualifier Round number 3, and we have the... Okay, yeah, this isn't great for Willie. Mantine into the Lantern, so a quick swap out into Gligar, which again, not the greatest of matchups if you can't get those digs through. So you're really getting forced to burn some shields on these surfs coming through. So that burn the first shield, here goes the dig attempt. Does go through, so that's pretty huge. But this Lantern is going to be able to get another surf off. Gets both of Willie's shields here. Now, Willie knows that switch advantage is... Well, actually, it's not as important now because the Lantern is so weak. Like, that was sort of a major Mantine counter, and it's now off the field. But TWWBS now has a 2-shield advantage here, going into the Gligar mirror match. So, burns the first one there. Here comes the Alolan Sandslash, and it's Talonflame in the back. Oh, dearie me. This is, not great for Willie, to say the least. Especially, and like, they didn't even have to shield there. They knew that the Mantine was going to be in the back. They can just throw a Fly, I guess. Actually throws the Flame Charge, intending to get another move off, I suppose. But Willie is not in a great spot, to say the least. Shields up the Aerial Ace, and is now going to be able to get the boosted Fly onto this Mantine. And yikes, that really hurts. And they've still got that Gligar pretty much full health in the back. Now it's Gligar mirror match. The other Gligar has got more health. Willie does have energy here. He's able to throw the Aerial Ace, but it's not going to be enough. This Gligar is going to go down to about half health. This Gligar's Aerial Ace is going to do that little bit. Well, actually, I guess about similar. But it is now just going to be a race. And I don't think that Willie's Aerial Ace is going to be enough to KO the opposing Gligar. Or is it just? Oh, no way. It was actually so close. Oh, dang. Okay, that was actually wild. But Willie, taking his first loss of the tournament so far, and now it goes into game number 2 with the Lantern mirror match. Much better than seeing a Mantine into Lantern, but wow, what a finish. Really unfortunate sort of, a little, like, not super RPS, but some pretty hard counter scenarios in that first game. So I think Willie's probably going to go into this one again, really recognizing that switch advantage might be a little bit important. Doesn't want to get into a situation where, he has that Alolan Sandslash in the back. He does not want to see Talonflame on that thing. He's taken the shield disadvantage to get here, and there's the Blossom and a hard swap into the Gligar. I guess really just hoping that there isn't an Azumarill in the back. See how much a Leaf Blade does to Gligar. Like, it's kind of insane how good Blossom is. But now going to get an Aerial Ace off, forcing a shield from that Blossom, because there is nothing you can do there. Actually gets another charge move off here. Willie maybe getting a little bit greedy, having to shield up another Leaf Blade, which is pretty unfortunate. But now going to throw the Aerial Ace into the Blossom, gets that last shield. This is not looking great for Willie, to be honest, because a Leaf Blade's going to KO here. Like, is Blossom actually a Gligar counter? This is sort of wild. And if there is a Talonflame in the back, I don't know what Willie can possibly do here. So it brings in the Sandslash. Ah, dear. Oh, man. Okay, so throws the ice punch, has to swap back into the lantern, has the surf here. So this is actually okay. Gonna get the surf off. This is gonna KO Talonflame. Now, okay. Now Willie clinched that one. It's pretty, oh no. Oh, back into a really bad lead. Here's the Gligar swap again. Like, the opponent doesn't really have like a hard check into Gligar because it doesn't seem like they're bringing that Azumarill. Actually swaps into the Lantern after getting a shield off of Willie. So this is an interesting spot because, again, we've seen how much Surf sort of pressures that Gligar to burn shields as well. So Willie does have a lot of energy here. So he's able to get the back-to-back dig, bring Lantern quite low. And at this point, you're kind of like, oh, okay. He decides he doesn't want to lose that shield advantage. But now he has to contend with the fact that there is a Talonflame just hanging in the back. And like as soon as he KOs this Lantern, we know its Pokemon is coming out. So he's got to... Okay, he gets one Powder Snow of energy and then swaps into the Lantern. Oh, dear. Oh, man. R.I.P. Willie. That Thunderbolt is doing nothing at all. The Leaf Blades are going to come through pretty quick. Blossom has quite a bit of an attack stat, so it really does bring that Lantern quite low. Already getting another one off. And, you know, Lantern goes down, and now we are contending with the fact that there is going to be an Alolan Sandslash into a Talonflame in the back, and the opponent has a shield. Willie literally, like, he has to no-shield the Leaf Blade because he knows, like, and now Leaf Blade's going to KO him. So, like, he's completely stuck. There's nothing he can do. Oh, not even quite. You know, he does get one Ice Punch off, but this single Incinerate is going to be enough to KO Willie. And that means he's going to take his first loss of the tournament up against an bonkers team. But, hey, like, you know, there's merit to running just these hard counter Pokemon, right? Like, you really can try and get some wins if you land your Pokemon correctly, and TWWBS really just was able to do that, unfortunately for Willie. So he's now 2-1 in the Swiss round. So you can sort of, I think 5-2. Oh, sorry, 6-2 is sort of as low as you can go. Oh, there might have been a few 5-3s, like the very upper echelon of 5-3 might have also gone through to the playoffs as well. But, you know, he's now going to play Cloudsmile, who's, again, you know, another 2-1 battler who's running another just bonkers team here. But, you know, it's beaten Willie once before, right? So Cloudsmile is running that Shadow Flygon, Shadow Alolan Marowak, Lurantis, Shadow A/Slash, Chargebug, and Oranguru, which is, like, just wild. Taiwan is crazy here. So we have Flygon with the Dragon Tail, Scorching Sands, and Dragon Claw. AWAC is running Fire Spin with Double Bone, Bone Club, Shadow Bone. Lurantis is going Fury Cutter, Leaf Blade, and Superpower. A/Slash with Powder Snow. Oranguru with Confusion, Foul Play, and Trailblaze. And Chargebug, classic moveset as well with Volt Switch. So, you know, let's jump into these battles. Like, this is just a bit of a wild tournament. I'm really hoping that we eventually, you know, get to the Deoxys action, but not a great start for Willie, and we saw how that went in the last round. So a hard swap into the Annihilate, and Alolan Sandslash going to stay in. Shadow Bone is still going to do a lot of damage, so forcing Willie to shield there, but it was just the bait. Really unfortunate, but now going to throw the Shadow Ball into the Chargebug. Like, this is not too bad for Willie because he does have so much energy. Does he actually want to shield, though? Because I feel like there's merit to letting it go, but actually going to stay in. Charge up a little bit more energy, finally throwing the Night Slash. This will be enough to KO the Chargebug if it goes through, but not going to let it happen. And so Willie able to get one more counter, throwing on nice timing with that Night Slash. Going to be actually going to get the second shield as well. So at this point, you know, no shields in play. The opponent wins switch. We know that there is that Shadow Alolan Sandslash in the back. So again, Willie's in this spot where... Was that it? Oh, that was the top left. Okay. He knew what was coming for him, I guess. But, oh well. You know, game number 2 gets a really strong lead there. Annihilate into that Alolan Sandslash. So we see the opponent swap out into Chargebug. And Willie able to swap out into the Gligar. So, hey, you know, he's down 1 against another bonkers team. Which is, like, really tough. Because you're like, how do I... Like, no matter how many scrims you do, you don't know what to do against Cloudsmile's team. You like think right now, if you're Willie, like what team would you personally run? But now Gligar coming in, gonna throw a few wing attacks, take it down. And then in comes the Alolan Sandslash back again, gonna be threatened by these digs. And the opponent like knows that there is that hard counter, so he actually lets it through and he's going, all of my chips are on Alolan Marowak. I know that this has a good matchup against that Alolan Sandslash. I just need to get through your other Pokemon. Unfortunately for them, the other Pokemon is Annihilate. So this isn't a great spot for Alolan Marowak, to say the least. Gets another shield bait from the Bone Club, which is unfortunate, but I think Willie's in a relatively strong position here. Gets that first shield with the Night Slash. And at this point, like, even if Willie were to no shield, you could probably get to, the better place to stay in. But, stays in, throws a Night Slash here. This is going to get that last shield out of Marowak. And then actually swaps into Alolan Sandslash, forcing energy from Cloudsmile. But, pretty confident that this is all going to be A-okay. And gets the defense debuff as well. But Willie's Annihilate, maybe closer than I was expecting. But game 3, we have the Flygon into Lantern. Now, Scorching Sands definitely is a bit of a scary move. Flygon takes neutral damage from Surfs because it is Dragon Ground, but still does a lot because it is 1, Squishy, and 2, a Shadow. But going to be swapping into that Shadow AWAC, and now Annihilate comes back in. We've seen this before. It gets the Night Slash boost, although I don't think that's necessary here because like Annihilate is not going to be able to counter down. You need another Night Slash to go through. And also shielded up another Bone Club, which is always unfortunate. Sometimes you just have to do it though. Gets another shield from Cloudsmile, and are now going to shield again, knowing that Willie is going to be able to get to another Night Slash, really putting that pressure back onto Cloudsmile. But because, does decide to burn the shield there and actually swaps out into the Gligar. Here comes the Flygon, throwing the charge move straight away, trying to get some damage onto this Gligar. There's the first Dragon Claw, can't get to another one. Willie going to be able to Aerial Ace away this Flygon. No shields left in play. So now you can sort of, that Alolan Marowak is in the back, brings in the Charge Bug, knowing that it's not the greatest matchup, but also knowing that like, hey, at least I'm going to be able to tank a move here and then throw a move of my own into the Gligar. Like, this is probably the right play. You don't really want to bring your AWAC in here, especially when, you've seen Willie constantly bringing that Alolan Sandslash, but like at this point, Charge Up are going to throw a charge move. Xyzza brings it down a little bit. Going to swap into the Annihilate. I feel like if Charge Bug stayed in, Willie might not have been able to get a charge move here, but opponent potentially trying to catch the Night Slash into the Alolan Marowak, keeping extra energy on the Charge Bug. Going to throw another charge move here. Is this going to be enough to KO Willie's Lantern? Oh, hang on. Oh no, Willie gets the 1 HP and a Dream Surf, barely hanging on and barely taking out that round with a 2-1 against just another completely bonkers team. Like, Willie is really just like on the razor's edge here. Like, that was such a tight battle, and actually really nice play from Cloudsmile to swap out to the Shadow Alolan Marowak, taking that energy from Willie, and then sort of coming back in with that Charge Bug with enough to throw that last charge move. And look, IVs don't matter until they do is the famous phrase. Definitely the case here, but really well played from Cloudsmile, to be honest. I came into this tournament going like, I want to see Spice succeed. And the Spice I was expecting to see succeed was that Attack Deoxys. We haven't seen it yet. Maybe this next round is our round, but we're definitely seeing some Spice succeed from the opponents. Now, Willie's now going up against Shun Xian, 199507. Now, again, because Swiss sort of pairs similar results, I'm just going to run under the assumption that these guys are both 3-1 in this tournament so far. So, what are they running here? So they've got the Clodsire, Skarmory, Jellicent, Whiscash, Talonflame, and Obstagoon. Clodsire not running Acid Spray Megahorn this time. They are actually running the Stone Edge Earthquake moveset. Jellicent is running Hex, Surf, and Shadow Ball. Talonflame is running your sort of more, I was going to say more standard, maybe not the case, Flame Charge, Brave Bird, and Obstagoon is actually running Night Slash Hyper Beam. So definitely some interesting movesets here. Like, I'm sort of seeing that Skarmory is definitely one that sort of matches up pretty scary into Willie, in the sense that you've got that really good Gligar matchup, you've got a pretty good Annihilate matchup, you've got decent play into the Mantine because Willie is running that Ice Beam Aerial Ace. Decent, like okay play into the Alolan Sandslash as well, because you are running that Steel Wing. And as we know, good play into Attack Deoxys. So again, I feel like Willie here is really going to be playing around that Lantern, who has good matchups into Skarmory, good matchups into Talonflame, good matchups into Jellicent. Not that great into the two Mud Boys that Shanxian is running. So let's jump into round number 5 of the qualifiers, which also confuses me, by the way, because I keep thinking like world qualifiers, but no, qualifiers to the playoffs. But we get the Lantern into Obstagoon lead matchup. There's the swap out into Gligar, and we see the counter swap of the Jellicent. Now, this is definitely a bit of a scary spot for Willie to be in to start off the battle, shielding up a Surf. And at this point, you just sort of want to get as much damage as you can onto this Jellicent. So throws the dig, and again, really nice timing from Willie. Wing Attack being a 2-turn move, Hex being a 3-turn move, so you can throw one and then throw the charge move. Shields up the second Surf, and now going to throw the Aerial Ace. Not going to be nearly enough to KO, but just puts enough pressure onto the opponent that they do actually shield up here. Throwing the Aerial Ace now, I feel like Gligar, could have won CMP, but there was also a bit of stutter action going on, so who knows. But we see the swap it into Lantern and Whiscash. Again, not a great matchup for Willie, but it's a playable one, right? Because you've got the Surfs, like they do start to add up. And you can sort of get yourself into a spot that even if you lose this matchup, you can get a little bit of energy on your, potentially onto your Pokemon in the back. So, like, not the worst spot, but not great. And Willie, again, like, this Lantern just loves hanging on with 1 HP, apparently. Going to bring that Whiscash right down to the red, which is going to be pretty key because now Willie's Mantine is actually going to get a full farm down. So that was actually really necessary. Like, I guess Willie still could have, like, he still would have survived and he still would have been able to get, like, a move off to KO. But now he has a lot more energy. And so now we can start throwing these Aerial Aces, Aerial Aces into the Obstagoon. Now, it doesn't have the fighting typing, not one of those sort of fighters, but you're still doing a lot of damage here. And you have to be scared of that Hyper Beam. It's just a Night Slash. I was kind of hoping for a Hyper Beam, to be honest. But, hey, it is what it is. Mantine going to come in, throw another Aerial Ace. Here comes another Aerial Ace, just back to back all the way through this Obstagoon. And now it's just that low health Jellicent in the back. And even if you KO this Mantine, Gligar in the back is going to be able to handle it. So that is GG's game number 1 from Willie in round 5. So going to game number 2, we have the Mantine into the Obstagoon. Again, not the worst matchup, but not the best. You sort of prefer shields down in this scenario if you are the Mantine. Well, unless you're going to get hit by a Hyper Beam, I suppose. But throws the Aerial Ace anyway, gets it down to half health. Obstagoon again threatening the Hyper Beam. Willie shields, and it is the Hyper Beam. Oh, it was such a cool move. But now the Aerial Ace is going to go through from the Mantine again. It's going to weaken this Obstagoon down to the red if it goes. Actually, it's a loss of more health from the quick attacks. My apologies. But now I'm going to keep on throwing this energy into the Jellicent. We can see that we have the Lantern in the back. So Willie can actually really comfortably just keep throwing energy from this Mantine. No need to swap. Actually gets a shield out of that Jellicent. And then he's got the Gligar in the back. And Gligar, as long as we don't see like a Skarmory in the back, is in a pretty good spot. Actually swaps into the Whiscash. So we're going to see Gligar come out here, which is kind of the best Whiscash answer, which is kind of unfortunate. Shields up a Scald. Luckily, no attack debuff. Because again, Willie is just trying to get as much damage as possible so that if this Gligar goes down, Lantern will be able to handle the Whiscash. You want Lantern to be able to get some Surfs off to KO that Whiscash. That was unfortunately an attack debuff, so this dig going to do that a little bit less to the Whiscash, but still going to get it down into the red. And the opponent actually throws a Mud Bomb here. Not sure if that was necessary. Like, you might have needed to throw one eventually, but they could have got a little bit more farm. And now in comes the Jellicent, going to be able to comfortably throw a Thunderbolt. And because Lantern is so healthy and Whiscash is so, let's say, not, going to be able to take a Mud Bomb here, and Willie should be able to spark down the Whiscash. And like a little bit tight there. And I actually sort of wonder if the opponent did get a little bit more energy earlier on that Whiscash, would they have been able to throw another Mud Bomb into that Lantern? And then would we be singing a different tune? I mean, look, Willie's Lantern would probably just survive on another 1 HP, so maybe it's not even important. But regardless, Willie now going into the Qualifier Round 6, who is now 4-1. And I think for the rest of the tournament, we don't have as many sort of spice lords. I think we've sort of run through the spice now that we're at this sort of point where we're 4-1 in the tournament. Not that we have no spice here, because I think that's actually a double L. Hansnini 155 is running the Shadow for Alligator, Chargebug, Skeledirge, Mandibuzz, Lickitung, and Cresselia. So Dumbing running the Croc and Gator combo. The Feraligatr is running Hydro Cannon Crunch. Mandibuzz has got Snarl, Aerial Ace, and Dark Pulse, and the Cresselia is running your sort of classic Psycho Cut, Grass Knot, and Moonblast. So, Willie's in a spot where he sort of, again, I think he's targeting 6-2. Like, if you hit 6-2, I think you're guaranteed to get into the qualifiers. So, he's got 3 rounds left. He needs to win 2 of them. So, going into this round, I mean, we still haven't seen Deoxys. I know it comes up. I've seen footage. I know it appears, but we haven't seen it yet. But hey, who would bring a spicy Pokemon into a tournament, perform well, and then basically never use it? I don't know, but hey, still insanely sick to you're essentially going in with a hand tied behind your back. Like, this is something we saw from Elche at the last World Championships, but anyway, let's jump into the battle. And we have Alolan Sandslash into Lickitung. So, okay, a pretty neutral matchup. You're going to be resisting those body slams, and you've got the Drill Run, Ice Punch. Both, I mean, you can kind of just throw straight Ice Punch, sort of. But just going to keep eating those resisted body slams. But because you are so squishy, can't take too many. I mean, interesting stat, by the way, there's not a single non-shadow Alolan Sandslash that has won a Play Pokemon tournament this in the 2024 season. They've all been shadow, 100%. So just random fun fact while we wait for Lickitung to go down in health a little bit. But Alolan Sandslash getting really low now, does get the KOing Ice Punch. The opponent letting it actually go through. Gets a Drill Run onto the Feraligatr as well. I feel like the opponent wasn't hoping that wouldn't be the case, but hey, gets the first shield, and now the hard counter Lantern. There's the hard counter Cresselia as well. So actually opts to get a little bit of damage onto the Cresselia before swapping out. Just shores up the matchup a little bit more in the sense that Gligar has a better chance to just KO down. Does eat a Moonblast, which is a little bit unfortunate, but is what it is. Did gonna bring it right down to the red. And at this point, Willie can sort of comfortably let Gligar go. Lantern would be able to get a full farm down on the Cresselia. Actually, of course, Willie survives, gets an Aerial Ace off just for good measure, KOs the Cresselia, and now in comes the Feraligatr. Gets one single fast move of energy. But Lantern is such a hard counter here. Like, you could potentially get a Crunch debuff. Not on this one, though. You can just throw straight Surf. You could probably survive straight Sparking down, but, and he's going to do it too. he's going to do it to him, but that's all right. So, game number 2. Willie's up 1-0. Electric versus Electric here with the Lantern into Chargebug. And you can see we're just running the same team with the A-Slash and the Gligar in the back as well. So you don't really want to swap necessarily too early if you're Willie. It is nice to get a little bit of damage off early with the Lantern, and then you swap into the Gligar. And there's the counter swap into Cresselia. So, I mean, it's sort of interesting in the sense that, you're preventing yourself from getting the hard counter Cresselia into Lantern, but I have a feeling that the opponent just might not really. I thought I don't really have a good Gligar answer. To be fair, none of their 6 are great into Gligar. I think Feraligatr is potentially one of your best bets because he can do so much raw damage, but he's keeping it tucked. Maybe he doesn't have it, because if Willie swapped out of a Lantern into Gligar, you'd think that you would swap into Feraligatr if you had it. So probably doesn't have it there. Swaps into the Sandslash for the last minute KO. Has to contend with the Chargebug's energy, so the X is going to weaken it down a little bit, but an Ice Punch is going to seal the deal if this lands. Down goes the Chargebug, and it's actually Lickitung in the back. So, look, Lickitung, will be able to handle Alolan Sandslash from this health range, But when you also have to contend with a little bit of a Gligar and also a little bit over half of a Lantern, I think that is just a little bit too much mileage for one single Lantern, one single Lickitung to cover, unfortunately. So I actually just see a swap out here into the Lantern. The opponent does still have a Shields, like they can... Willie's potentially just going to... Oh, Shields up the Power Whip. So actually really nice call. And now Willie can actually just Spark down. So literally 2 for 2 games against his opponent. Complete Spark down. So pretty well played, I would suggest. But we're now up against Vincent070400. A lot of numbers in Taiwan. And we've got the Whiscash, the Lantern, the Altaria, Skarmory, Annihilape, and the Lantern as well. Did I say Lantern twice? I think I said Lantern instead of Lickitung, which is not the first time in this video. So I'm not sure what that's all about. But anyway... Altaria is back to running sort of standard moveset Moonblast here, but here's the interesting thing that Vincent is running. Vincent is running Scald Blizzard on his Whiscash, which is like, I love it. That's so cool. Deciding that Mud Bomb's not going to be necessary. And against Willie's team, it's kind of not necessary. Like, you're sort of now not a good counter to Lantern. So you're sort of relying on your other Pokemon a little bit, your Altaria, your Lickitung. Even Annihilape to some extent, and then of course you have the Lantern Mirror Match to try and deal with it, but it really does weaken Whiscash's effectiveness on that front in dealing with the Lantern. But at the same time, you get really nice, Gligar nuke potential. You've got good play into Dragons. Unfortunately, there's no Dragons on Willie's team, but hey. Do I spoil it here? I mean, I've already spoiled that Willie comes top 6. I guess I'll just mention here, Vincent does end up winning the entire Taiwan qualifiers, the entire Taiwan playoffs, I should say. So, Vincent is worlds qualified here. Hopefully we'll be seeing them at the World Championship, but Vincent, a very, very strong battler. That is for sure. That's correct, right? It was Vincent. Let's just check. DoGeDuGeDaShen. Oh, they actually haven't put the final graphic up on the DoGeDuGeDaShen site. They posted it on Twitter. I'm pretty sure Vincent ends up winning the entire shebang. But regardless, we are facing him now in the qualifiers, and I'm assuming again they are both 5-1 here. It's possible that Vincent could be 6-0. It could be an up pair, but regardless, let's jump in to round 7 of the qualifiers. Willie still not using that Attack Deoxys yet. We've got time. We have time. You can see the progress bar. There's a lot of the video left, so we've got time for it to come out, I suppose. Not this battle though, because we have a great lead with Sandslash into Altaria. Here comes the Whiscash with a Mantine swapping in as a nice hard check. Although again, it is the Scald Blizzard Whiscash, so I'm interested to see how whether Vincent gets any Blizzards off in any of these battles. There it is, and wow, what a nuke. That's huge damage, bringing Mantine down into the, oh my gosh, and now you have to shield, right? Because you're like, well, one more Blizzard would take me out, and there it is. That is just scary play. That is one of the scariest Whiscashes I've ever seen. Is coming from Vincent here. Going to not, oh, we do get a full farm down, which is really nice. In comes the Lantern. We don't really have a move for Lantern on this Mantine. It gets an Ice Beam and then swaps out. Not only weakening down. Oh, nice catch from the opponent. The Thunderbolt going into the Altaria, resisted, actually neutral damage because of the flying typing, but saving Vincent's Lantern after getting chipped by that Mantine. Really nice play. And at this point, Altaria, you sort of just have to go straight Moonblast. Because the Sky Attacks are resisted and kind of do nothing for you. Plus, you get the potential debuff, which is nice. But going to be okay. Lantern barely hanging on because we know that's what Willie's Lantern does. Willie's Lantern hangs on to 1 HP, gets one last surf onto that Lantern, and now Willie has to contend with the Lantern's energy. So the surf going to come through. Doesn't quite take it down to half health, but the sparks definitely do. Doesn't want to take another surf, so shields up here. And at this point, you kind of have to try and make a catch into Mantine, but you have to burn both shields off of Vincent. This is a really tough spot for Willie to be in. Does swap into the Mantine, gets an Ice Beam off. Does Vincent throw a shield up here? Doesn't have to. Lets it come through, but now that Lantern is so low, but Willie just barely doesn't KO there and loses the first game by a slim margin. But now game number 2, we have the Mantine into the Lickitung. Ice Beam's just going to keep on getting thrown here, try and do some big damage, and then swapping out into the Lantern. Now, this is an interesting play because obviously Lickitung has the Power Whips, which Willie does end up shielding there. But now we see the Whiscash coming out. And again, you're going like, okay, this isn't the normal Whiscash. You don't have Mud Bombs here. So, like, are you just going to go straight Scald? Or do you go for Blizzard just for more raw damage? Like, I feel like you go for Scald for the potential debuffs, and we do actually get one on the first one here. Technically, the mud shots like are slowly adding up. So like maybe this isn't the worst spot, but it feels like a really weird matchup. Like this doesn't feel correct. But regardless, the Lantern throwing another surf there and a catch into the Mantine. This is probably a Scott. Oh my gosh, it's the Blizzard. You're joking. Keeping the Lantern around, the opposing Lantern comes in, gets a little bit of farm, and now Willie has to make a call here. He's down health and down energy and down shields in this Lantern mirror match, which is not where you want to be. Burns another shield on that Thunderbolt as well. He's leaving a lot of work for this Alolan Sandslash to do in the back, and I'm not sure if we're going to get there because there are still 2 shields up. Vincent doing some really nice catting, and actually it looks like Willie, sort of ready to stop recording there. He's like, okay, this is game lost. Do we quit out here? But he's going to come in. He throws the Ice Punch, but that Lantern is in a pretty decent position here. Can really throw either move. And then, there's the surf, bring it down to the red. Here's another surf, and that's going to be GG's. Taking out Willie, giving him his second loss in the qualifiers. So he is now 5-2. And so again, I'm not sure exactly where the bar was sort of drawn, but I'm imagining that Willie sort of needs to win this last round to guarantee himself a spot in the playoffs. So this is sort of the all-important 8th round of the Swiss tournament, final round. And they were held on different dates as well, by the way. There's 2 weeks between the qualifiers and the playoffs. And there is I'll talk about it in a bit. But up against Ag991, who is running a Vigoroth, a Dugong, Chargebug, Skarmory, Shadow Gligar, and Shadow Alolan Sandslash. Now, I think both of these guys are sort of playing for a spot in the qualifiers. So a lot at stake. And this is actually another opposing Powder Snow Alolan Sandslash. So all of the other movesets are standard. So Gligar is going to be a little bit scared of the double ice team, plus Vigoroth, who isn't even taking super effective damage from the flying moves. Plus, you're scared of that Skarmory. Plus, one of the Pokemon is a mirror match. So I feel like Willie almost can't bring the Gligar. Like he can. I certainly wouldn't. But I've also never performed this well in, an 8-round Swiss tournament. So I don't know. Willie could have the sauce here. I feel like what might be a little bit more important is making sure that he can take down that Vigoroth. So I feel like Annihilate is sort of going to be big here to sort of counter not only the Vigoroth, but also the Dugong, the Alolan Sandslash. And you've got play against all the other 3 Pokemon as well. I feel like that Annihilate is really going to be the Pokemon to stand behind. And we are now in round 8 of the qualifiers. And we still have not seen the Attack Deoxys come out. Is this finally where we see the Attack Deoxys arrive? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Let's hit play. Jumping into round number 8, and we have Deoxys! Okay, it's time. Deoxys up against Chargebug. This is absolutely wild. Look how much damage the Volt Switches are doing. But we get to the Psycho Boost so quick. This is going to do so much damage if it goes through. And there's a shield from AG991. So Willie has sort of played the Deoxys gambit. He's got the shield advantage. Can he turn that into a win? We have the Lantern here up against the Chargebug. Shields up. Going to give that shield right back to AG991. Going to just keep on farming a little bit more energy. Throwing the Surf now. Going to try and just keep putting this pressure onto the Chargebug. Trying to win that switch advantage as well. Surf goes through. Can tank an X-Scissor if it is, and it is an X-Scissor. Now going to farm down, is actually in a shield disadvantage now, but has energy. So we'll see if Willie can convert here. We have the Gligar coming in. Gligar not going to like the look of this almost back-to-back surf action from Lanturn. So there it is, down to half health. This one would KO, so the opponent presumably going to throw up that final shield from their end. Now you have the potential catch, but doesn't end up going through, which is really unfortunate. But now you have to make a call. Which Pokemon do I bring in here? Because while this Alolan Sandslash can do a lot of damage with the Powder Snows, you're also going to take a lot of damage from that dig, one-hit KO. And now the Lanturn comes in a really good matchup against this Skarmory, but you still have to deal with that Gligar in the back on top of the Skarmory, and a Thunderbolt isn't quite enough to KO, so barely taking it out there. So Deoxys makes his first appearance, but unfortunately not the source that time. And so now, game number 2, we have the Annihilate going into the Charger Bug. Slightly better matchup here than the Deoxys, but going to do a similar strat where we weaken down the Charger Bug a little bit, swap into the Lanturn, actually going to no shield this first move. It is just an X-Scissor. They do add up though, and eventually, but so do the Surfs. It gets a shield out of the opponent. Willie now the one starting here with a shield advantage, but I feel like that's not going to be the case for too much longer because this Lanturn definitely getting low. Actually going to no shield here. Okay. Going to let the Lanturn go. At this point, you can actually sort of go either way. You can sort of bring in Annihilate or the A-Slash. Both Pokemon are pretty decent here. A-Slash, it looks like, tries to make a catch. I guess a catch, but still end up throws the Ice Punch into the Skarmory, and now going to swap into that Annihilate, knowing that Steel Wing, not scared. Willie has the shield advantage here, so can comfortably burn shields and just laugh in the face of the Steel Wing damage, although not laugh too hard. You've still got to throw some charge moves here. Gonna throw this Night Slash into the Skarmory. Down it goes. And now, I guess Charger Bug? Oh, yeah, I guess Charger. Oh, no, it's going to be the Gligar coming in. So, has to make the call here whether this is a Shadow Ball. Eats the damage, which is going to be really rough when you have to face the Powder Snows from this A-Slash. Gets one charge move off, but Willie can comfortably shield and will be able to farm down before that Gligar can get to another dig. Charger Bug gets the moves off, but Alolan Sandslash can definitely take it. Even though it's the discharge, it does a lot, can still comfortably come back in. Gligar going to go down to one Powder Snow and tie the series up 1-1. It all comes down to this. Lanturn into Charger Bug. We've been here so many times. AG really loving that Charger Bug lead. And now the Surf going to go through, bring it down again. Down into below half. And it looks like we're just going to play out the lead scenario this time. We don't need to swap into Lanturn this time around. Annihilate is just hanging out in the back, ready for any, potential Alolan Sandflashes that could come crawling. I feel like Willie's less inclined to... actually, maybe he still lets Lanturn go here. You could sort of go either way. Do you want switch advantage? He does want switch advantage. This Spark will KO the Charger Bug. He's traded in his shield for switch. Will it pay off for him? What comes out? It is the Skarmory. Is able to get a Surf off as well. And at this point, you have to make, again, a bit of a call. What do you think is in the back? What do I need? And again, going to bring in that Annihilate. But this isn't as good as it was in the last battle. In the last battle, you had the shield advantage. You could comfortably shield up those Sky Attacks and laugh in the face of those Steel Wings. Now, you've already burned all of your shields. As soon as that Skarmory throws a Sky Attack, you are toast. So burns the first shield with the Night Slash. Gets the second Night Slash off here, pushing that Skarmory to try and burn another shield. And he does. Swaps into the Alolan Sandslash to take the move, though. This is a really nice play from Willie. This is going to take it. Brave Bird is still going to take that quite comfortably, and it's actually Dugong in the back. The drill runs are going to add up here, but what you really want is that big counter damage finish off. But again, there are no shields in play. So that Dugong is going to try and get as much energy as possible so that they can not only carry this Alolan Sandslash, but then have energy to throw into the Annihilate as well. So there's the Drill Run KO. Here's the Annihilate. The Icy Wind, presumably going to be what's coming out here. Going to bring it really low. Annihilate is now going to have a chance to get even more counter down. Barely has the Night Slash, and this will KO the Skarmory, and that is Willie securing a 6-2 in the qualifiers and a place in the playoffs, the top 16 in 2 weeks. 2 weeks later on. So, really nice play from Willie, but I feel like the opponent, if they waited just a little bit, to throw that Icy Wind. Give Willie a little bit less farm on his Annihilate. I feel like he doesn't get to that Night Slash, and that potentially opens up doors to try and get a little bit more going. But although I guess then at the same time, you would be taking more counter damage. You wouldn't be able to do as much Ice Shard damage. So I'm not sure how it would have played out, but regardless, really well played from Willie, and secures himself a spot in that top 16. And so again, 2 weeks later, and they actually had a chance to change their teams here, I'm pretty sure. So, you could change your team if you wanted. Willie said, nah. He went through 8 rounds of Swiss. He brought Deoxys once. It lost that battle, and he was like, we're doing it again. So we're now going off into the playoffs winners round 1. Again, it's a double elimination format that we're sort of very familiar with in the rest of the world's play Pokemon circuit. We have that Vigoroth, Cresselia, Chargebug, Shadow for Alligator, Guzzlord, and Skeledirge. And by the way, I feel like I don't usually interrupt videos to say this. I usually wait till the end, but I just realized while had to open up a new tab for the qualifiers. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're all about that 8-pack coverage. Anyway, we're up against DoGeDuGeDaShen, which I dig the name. But that Feraligatr is running Hydro Cannon Ice Beam, so not running Crunch like the earlier one was. And again, Cresselia running your standard moveset. Everything else running standard movesets as well. But can I actually take a look at the? Okay, they went 7-1 in the qualifier. Vincent also went 7-1 for the record. And I don't recognize. I think they were the only 2 opponents. Well, I mean, Vincent was the only opponent who also qualified into the top 16 with a 7-1 result. So did this player, and looks like they haven't changed their team either. They've kept the same. They've kept the same team going into the playoffs. So regardless, look, I'm really hoping for Deoxys. I think that's going to be the case for the rest of the thing. I'm pretty sure it comes out more than once. Although I did ask Willie, what was the logic in keeping Deoxys going into another tournament? And he said, I thought about replacing it for Shadow Mewtwo until I simulated that it puts mostly everything meta into the red, but not actually KOing it. So whereas Deoxys can sort of, if you land a move through, you're probably winning. Shadow Mewtwo didn't really provide that same thing. But I also asked what his mindset was to actually bring Deoxys in the first place. And he said, I was thinking that it could be a nice lead in certain situations, since it either knocks out opposing Pokemon or gets a shield in 5 seconds. It can also be a good closer if I can get set up a farm. But yeah, and so, here we are. Going into the qualifiers. Winners round 1. Only 16 players remaining. The top 2 will get through to the World Championships. So let's jump into the battles. And thanks for sticking around the video this long, by the way. We're about to hit the hour mark. We've got Shadow, Alolan Sandslash into the Cresselia. And we see a quick swap out into the Gator. So again, because this Gator is running Hydro Cannon Ice Beam as opposed to Crunch, Mantine is actually pretty safe here. You can really take either move. Ice Beam still hurts. We saw how much Blizzard did from the Whiscash a little bit earlier, but you're a little bit more comfortable. You can take one, even from a Shadow for Alligator. And now look how much damage Mantine is outputting back onto that Gator. Can take this move comfortably and just farm it down. And you have one switch. We know that Cresselia is out there. You could potentially get a little bit of farm. Actually bringing in the Skeledirge. We've got the Croc and Gator combo coming out here. And again, Gator's kind of comfortable here that this Mantine knows no water-type moves. There's no fast move, no charge move that's got water. So it can comfortably come in, does burn a shield there, and gets a big Incinerate farm down. And we've seen, this is actually really scary for Willie's back line. Incinerate's huge into Sandslash, Play Roughs, Disarming Voice, huge into Annihilate, as are the Shadow Balls, of course. So it has to shield the Disarming Voice, but he's only 5 turns away from another one. Throws the Night Slash here. Again, really nice timing. Gets that shield out of the opponent. Here's the Disarming Voice. Or potentially Shadow Ball, actually. You could go straight for the ball. There's the ball. KO. And now in comes the Sandslash again. Now, this is a really heads-up play from the opponent. Willie has a lot of energy. If they stayed in with the Skeledirge, Willie would just be able to unload the energy into that Skeledirge, KO it, and sort of throw it away. By bringing in Cresselia first, it puts the pressure onto Willie to have to use up his energy onto the Cresselia so that he can then hopefully bring the Skeledirge back in and try and incinerate down. So now we see Willie still has a bit of energy in tow, but not a lot, throwing this Ice Punch into Cresselia before it KOs it with a Grass Knot, and now gets one incinerate, and that is all that he needed. Gets the first game win against Willie, and now it is not as good of a spot because this Feraligatr was in the lead this time, unless I blinked for half a second and missed it. But the Mantine comes into the swap, eats an Ice Beam, and now has to face a Cresselia. This is not a great start for Willie, but we do have the Aerial Ace going through. There is an Ice Beam now just because it does a little bit more damage, like raw damage if you're only going to get one. So it brings it down to half health. Again, Willie's kind of just camping out here waiting for that Grass Knot to come through, hoping that the opponent doesn't get too much farm. But now, like, okay, there is a Gator in the back. My Lantern is looking pretty good into that. And to be honest, like, I feel like Willie's probably predicting a Skeledirge in the back, comboed with that Gator Cresselia, in which case Lantern would look quite strong into that as well. But the opponent sort of makes the, oh my gosh, eating a Drill Run. That is not great for the opponent, and then gets sparked down. In comes the Cresselia, actually going to eat a Grass Knot. We haven't seen the Pokemon in the back, so maybe it isn't that Skeledirge, but the Surf goes through, and it is the Dirge. Now, really heads up play to no shield the Cresselia, recognizing that farming up as much energy as possible on this Skeledirge is important, but use your shields here, keep your Skeledirge around, and try and unleash as much damage as possible. Lantern is so low, just throw Disarming Voices. Gets the first shield. But Willie has the advantage of really nice timing here. He can keep throwing 2 Sparks, charge move, 2 Sparks, charge move, or even 2 Powder Snow, charge move. Unfortunately loses charge attack priority there, but he's able to shield up, get another Surf off, and there's no more shields on that Skeledirge's side. This will tie it up 1-1. Again, double elimination tournament. You don't want to go to the losers bracket. Good lead here, finally, with the Mantine into the Skeledirge. Again, you've got potential for decent timing, but without any water charge moves, you don't have that much to do here. So you just throw Aerial Ace. And we are at the point where like Skeledirge is below half health, but a single Shadow Ball is really going to hurt this Mantine. Goes to the Disarming Voice, so nice call there from Willie. But now it's the Cresselia time, and we're throwing that Ice Beam. Swaps into the Gligar, which we haven't seen come out in this set so far, but going to quite comfortably take the Grass Knots. Moonblast hurt a little bit more, but the Digs also hurt the Cresselia back. So you're sort of telling the opponent, like, hey, you might want to burn some shields here. Doesn't burn it on the first one, and so now Willie actually one that has to burn the shield. But I think because that is a Moonblast, you can get a full farm down. Excuse me, and have a lot of energy ready to go into the Dirge. Again, Incinerate. You can comfortably go 2 Wing Attacks and throw. Gets that first shield. Catches a move into the Mantine. Really nicely done from Willie here. Eats the Disarming Voice. Unfortunately, will actually give a lot of energy back, but it's Guzzlord in the back. Okay, and this is not what the opponent wants to see. Annihilate coming in here. Now, Willie has to be a little bit scared of the charge moves here. That is a Dragon Claw, though, and now, just keep on countering. Throws a Night Slash here just because. Does a little bit more damage than a counter. Not that much more, but he's able to get the full KO here. And now here's Skeledirge. Only throws the 1 counter because 1 Incinerate will be enough to KO. So wants to get the charge move in before damage registers, but which can be a little bit inconsistent if you throw on that 4th turn. And then comes in with the Gligar, is able to clinch the win there. Really nicely done from Willie in that set. And again, DoGeDuGeDaShen is able to, is still around in the losers bracket. And we can actually, I should probably pull up twitter.com/DracoViz. Whoops, I just accidentally put the screenshot thing. I hope that doesn't, interrupt the recording or anything. I mean, it looks like it's still fine. So I'll go to DracoViz, scroll down to the Taiwan. I could probably control F, but I'll just scroll. Okay, so I do have the sort of final bracket here. Where are we? Willie. Oh, it actually is only for the top 12, I'm not sure. Anyway, I was going to pull something up, but I won't quite yet. So anyway, number 2, we're up against Kimi Sui. Now, Kimi Sui, definitely a very skilled battler, someone who has graced the World Championships before, as you can see from their in-game shirt. Now, I probably should have pulled up their record a bit earlier. Luckily, I can go to dracoviz.com/profile. And actually, Kimi Sui has been playing a lot. So they actually, they were top 6 at the APAC playoffs in the first season. They were also second place at Indianapolis. They came top 6 at Worlds in the seniors division, because Kimi Sui is quite a young battler, and back then it was split. In the 2023 season, when everything was merged into the one age bracket, Kimi Sui ended up winning Fort Wayne, and then back-to-back came second in Milwaukee, and then competed at Worlds again. Had a bit of a tough run at the World Championships, but is now sort of back to competing again. Came top 6 in Peoria, which was one of the first ones, and has competed a few times since. But Kimi Sui coming in here through the Taiwan qualifiers, and I'm not sure what the deal is with whether you can I feel like if you're in the TPC region, you can only qualify from the TPC region, although maybe that's not the case. I'm not sure. But regardless, Kimi Sui is running the Vigoroth, Lickitung, Altaria, Skarmory, Shadow Gligar, and Lantern. Again, we're just going hard meta here. All standard movesets. But definitely going to be a tight battle here. So, Willie going in with the Lantern into the Vigoroth. No Deoxys attack here. I know it comes out at least once more, but we have the Lantern into the Vigoroth. A bit of a neutral matchup here. Just going to be throwing surfs and body slams back and forth and back and forth and back and forth until one of them eventually swaps out or gets KO'd. Either way. But burns a shield on the surf. At this point, I wouldn't be... Well, I guess at this point, Willie could decide to just let it go. And it looks like by going for the Thunderbolt, he's actually resigned to that fact. He's just going to let this Lantern go and bring in Annihilate, get a bit of a farm down. You know you resist the body slams. So you sort of force the Vigoroth to go for the Rock Slides. Kimi Sui has actually burned both of their shields. The Lantern comes in, but again, shieldless. So Willie can burn one shield here. Farm up a bit more, throw the Shadow Ball. Farm up a lot more and throw the Shadow Ball. Bring this Lantern quite low. Willie was able to get away with so many 1 HP Lanterns, and finally it happens back to him, gets that Surf off, and now this Annihilate is really low to the point that even Vigoroth would be able to counter down here, but Kimi Sui has no shields left. So the Night Slash goes through, brings it down to the red, and then it swaps into the Lickitung, and now Lickitung has to contend with a 1 shield Alolan Sand Slash. If Kimi Sui still had shields in tow, this could be a little bit closer, but now, this Lickitung is not going to have a great time here. Decides to let this Body Slam come through. And now another Body Slam coming through from the Lickitung, which you can let through, but you have to be a little bit wary. Just, be aware of the counter damage that is going to come through from that Vigoroth in a short second. But it's really low. Gets 2 counters of farm on the A-Slash. In comes the Vigoroth throwing the charge move. Annihilate able to shield up here. And now Annihilate going to be able to get... that 1 counter was all that was needed. If he's just a little bit healthier, you could have gone for the attempted counter down of Annihilate. Maybe. No charge moves. But game number 2. We're back. It's Lantern vs Vigoroth. And so we'll see if they play it any differently. Willie decided to again throw that first surf. Kimi Sui still deciding to let that shield go up. Going to throw the Body Slam here. We'll see if Willie goes for the same play of going for the Thunderbolt and then letting Lantern go. Kimi Sui can get a little bit more farm than he... lets it go. Wants to keep the shield advantage here. Yeah, look, this is looking somewhat similar, but yeah, going to throw... I think that's just a Body Slam. I don't think he has enough for a Rock Slide. So doesn't do much to Annihilate, but weakens it down a little bit. And now Lickitung comes in. So that little bit might actually matter. And we're going to see Alolan Sand Slash swap in with a counter swap of Lantern. So Drill Run going to land here. And then, well, I guess if you're Willie, you're kind of going like, okay, I've got my Annihilate in the back. I kind of want to keep it, You could bring it in to get a bit of farm, I suppose, but you're really relying on the counter damage against a Lickitung. Kimisui burning that shield, wants to keep this Lantern around, but unfortunately loses charge attack priority to the Annihilate. So really unfortunate shield from Kimisui, and now this Lickitung is facing a 2 shield Annihilate. Wouldn't be like not always the worst matchup, but because these Night Slashes are adding on top of the counters, like you can see Lickitung almost keeping up here, and Kimisui, sort of knows like, okay, evidently I can't lick down, so at least let's try and land this Power Whip. Maybe Willie goes for the BM and lets it go, but yeah, Night Slash going to be enough to knock out Kimisui into the losers bracket. Even gets a Night Slash boost at the end just to rub it in. But yeah, Kimisui knocked down to the losers bracket. And then Kimisui finishes up in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, finishes up in the top 8 in the Taiwan Qualifier, in the Taiwan playoffs. I keep saying qualifiers because again, they're qualifying for Worlds, but no, they've qualified for the playoffs. So going into winners round number 3, we're back. Vincent returns. Vincent was sort of gave Willie quite a dominating performance a little bit earlier in the qualifiers, and is now also running the exact same team going into the playoffs. These guys, they both succeeded. Vincent was able to go 7-1. And again, same as before, this is that Whiscash with Scold and Blizzard, and Annihilate isn't running Night Slash Shadow Ball. So that Blizzard Whiscash actually really played well into Willie's team a little bit earlier. Let's see if Willie can sort of fight back, claw back some victories, win back some honor against Vincent in the winners round 3. We have Gligar into Whiscash. Again, not a great spot to be in, but to be honest, there is not a single Pokemon on Willie's team of 3 here that wants to see this Whiscash. Swaps into the Lantern, maybe hoping to try and get a Scold. Or a Blizzard, I guess. Either way, Lantern is going to be able to take it quite comfortably. I said none. Lantern. Lantern can take them. But we see Vincent swap into the Lickitung, shielding up the Power Whip here, and now it's just going to be able to push through. Going to go for the Surf play, so going to go for the double Surf rather than going for a Thunderbolt. Wants to try and win this matchup. Now, at this point, you could shield and farm down, and it looks like that is what Willie's going to do. But you're now at a 2-0 shield disadvantage, which isn't a place you love to be. Whiscash, again, not much of a Lantern counter because they're running Scold Blizzard, so going to go for the debuff here. I think that was the debuff? Hard to tell sometimes because the not very effective comes up before the attack drop, but we see that first Surf go through. In comes the Mantine, and unfortunately for Willie, Vincent is running the Lantern in the back, so this is not looking good for Willie's chances here because, again, 2 shield advantage, just going to spark all the way down. Willie's still, fighting it out, just in case the opponent makes a massive blunder, but there's not much Willie can do here. This is pretty much a solid game loss for Willie, which will mean that he has to win. He can't lose the next battle, or else he'll be knocked down into the losers bracket. So Surf comes through, and yeah, not much you can do, right? Like you've been counted here. And Willie not going to throw any more moves. And okay, Deoxys is back. Deoxys is in, up against the Whiscash. Okay, a single Psycho Boost will do so much damage here. Does Vincent shield? Let the Psycho Boost through. Let it through. Ah! Okay, keeps it around though. Wants to use it as a closer as well. So you see a swap out into a Alolan Sandslash. Again, there is no Mud Bomb, so eats the Scold and gets attack debuffed, which is really unfortunate because now the Lantern isn't going to be as threatened by these Shadow Drill runs. Still does over half, so actually not the worst, but throws a last second Ice Punch as well. And at this point, you're like, okay, what do we bring in here? That Deoxys is so low from Whiscash's Mud Shots. Oh my gosh, look at the sparks. But the Poison Jabs are really adding up too. By bringing in Deoxys, okay, goes for the shield, wants to keep that Deoxys around, swapping into the Gligar. Okay, really just putting all of his chips onto, I'm gonna get to a move on Deoxys, and it's going to go through, and it's going to win me the game. This is a massive gambit from Willie, but the dig going to go through here. Gonna get a shield from that Lickitung, gets another drill run off, needs to weaken this Lickitung down, but one lick is going to do so much damage to Deoxys here. Oh, gets the Psycho, but no! No! Oh, man, we don't even get to see it. Oh, that's really sad, actually. It's so unfortunate. But, well, Willie gets knocked down into the losers bracket. Unfortunately, Deoxys not quite enough to carry him through. We are now in playoffs losers round 4 up against YiJianLu, who they've actually I think they lost in the first round of the winners bracket here and has made a little bit of a losers bracket run. So, look, definitely going to be fighting it out here. I just wanted to see Deoxys land a move. maybe here in losers round 4 we can see it happen. Oh, I should probably look at the teams first. We have the Vigoroth, Cresselia, Altaria, Shadow A/, Skeledirge, and Lantern. It is another Powder Snow, Alolan Sandslash, and again, it is a standard Grass Knot, Moonblast, Cresselia. Everything else pretty standard here. But let's jump in. And we have the Lantern into the Vigoroth. Here we go again. It's sort of a very similar spot as well because we have that Annihilate hanging out in the back. So I assume that we're going to see Willie go for the same strategy that has sort of worked for him for the most part so far, where he is going to let the Lantern go, bring back in the Annihilate. Oh, no, we're going to play it a little bit differently. We're going to go for the Surf, swap out into the Gligar. I guess recognizing that Lantern actually has a bit more play here as a Skeledirge counter as well. So it doesn't necessarily want to throw it all away. So, shield up the Body Slam from Vigoroth. And then you can kind of just... Oh, no, we see a swap out into Lantern. So we will be able to get one dig off. Have I been saying Drill Run? I hope not. Anyway, gets a dig off. Apologies if I have been. Gets the shield from the Surf, and now no more shields in play. Will get one last dig through. Not going to be enough to KO, but will bring it really low and then swaps into Annihilate. Can't quite get a Snipe KO, but, going to be able to take a move here. It is the Thunderbolt and get some energy on Annihilate. Not looking too bad here, although it is the Cresselia in the back. So, it goes for the Shadow Ball. The switch timer isn't quite up yet, so you're sort of like, I'm only going to get one move here. Cresselia is going to get the KO on me, which is a bit unfortunate. But at this point, I guess you bring in Lantern. Oh, can you even get to a move before a Grass Knot comes through? Oh, okay. Catches the Surf into Lantern. At this point, you need to catch a Grass Knot into your Gligar. Goes for the catch, doesn't succeed, and unfortunately now Cresselia has so much farm. It's only got 1 HP. Does it have 2? I feel like they've got 2. They do now have 2 after one more Psycho Boost. Spark, just not enough, and will get the first win for YiJianLu. And now it is again. We're here again. Willie loves this matchup with Lantern, Annihilate, Gligar in the back. Now the Surf's sort of sitting there ready to go, but, going to see a Body Slam, and then we'll throw a Surf, and then I guess we'll see. Will Willie go path A, where he swaps into Gligar? Didn't work out well for him in the last battle. Or Willie... Oh, okay, yeah, just going to go straight there. Straight into the Gligar. Going to try and play it out a little bit differently, I suppose. At least I hope so, because otherwise we're in trouble. But the Aerial Ace goes through, takes out the Vigoroth, and here comes the Skeledirge. So again, a little bit of stutter lag, which is always unfortunate, but doesn't seem to have, affected anything. We have the dig going through onto the Dirge. No, there's the shield. Skeledirge has a lot of energy here. Brings in the Lantern, but you still have to be scared of a Shadow Ball. You need to respect it. It is the Disarming Voice, though. Really nice call from Willie, and now it is that Lantern in the back. Willie does have the shield advantage here. This Thunderbolt will probably go through, and then it's Annihilate's time to shine. I guess you sort of want to have a move for the Skeledirge in the back. So the question is, can you 2 shield farm down and win charge attack priority? That's the win con here, and get there before the switch timer is up. Oh, you need to throw a Night Slash here. Okay? There's still a shield, though. Okay. Interesting throwing one more counter. Because now you need to win charge attack priority. Whoa! Was that an extra counter? Did Skeledirge not have energy? There was still the shield. I see now. I see what has occurred. So now, yeah, that is Disarming Voice hits the shield and unfortunately has another charge move. And that is actually GG's Willie getting knocked out in the top 6. We saw Attack Deoxys twice. And I did ask, did you regret bringing Attack Deoxys to this tournament? And Willie said, not at all. I probably couldn't have gotten this far without Deoxys. Bench pressure, wink emoji. And I can definitely relate to that. With, my Sydney Wilma player was definitely all about the bench pressure, forcing them to bring their Trevenants. And Willie was definitely able to push so far with the greatest Attack Deoxys run of all time and potentially ever. Like, I'm not sure how it can be beaten except potentially by Willie himself in the future. But really well played by Willie, and really appreciate him sharing these battles with us. And thank you for sticking around for almost an hour and 20 minutes to watch some Attack Deoxys battles. We may have only seen 2. We may have never seen Deoxys actually land a move. But we saw Attack Deoxys come top 6 in official sanctioned play Pokemon tournament, all towards that World Championship. So massive thank you to Willie for sharing the battles, and thanks again to DoGeDuGeDaShen for not only providing all of the data, all the teams, everything for the Asia Pacific region as well as the world, but also, of course, for helping out with the the overlays as well. But I don't think I have anything left to say. I forgot to ask Willie if he had people to shout out or whatnot. But hey, Attack Deoxys, it's legit. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one. And if any of the other APAC winners do want their, I feel like we sort of, because there was no streams, it's sort of important that we sort of push for this APAC coverage after the fact to try and get some battles shown off. I know Rise to Occasion recently showed off, I think it was Yakai's run through the APAC region, where Yakai was able to succeed in that. And I guess I'll just drop at the end of this video, if you've been watching all the way through, that I am putting together a bit of an APAC region Clash of the Champions coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I already said the Endy thingy, but I don't have it here. But thanks to all the patrons and YouTube members as well for the support and for supporting content like this. But I'll let you go now. Have a good one, and good luck with your own Attack Deoxys battles. Shout out Willie333b, one of the GOATs for sure.